Hello, welcome to Buzzing with Cousin Talk. How's everybody doing out there? Everybody doing good? We got a great show planned today. And before I start, I'd like to shout out to um, all the people that have come on this show the last year, um, connecting with the community here in this beautiful Monterey Peninsula. Sharing your art, sharing your music, sharing your food, sharing your festivals, just doing what you do here in Monterey. So I thank everybody for coming on to the show. And so let's get this show started. Okay, so now I'm on the corner of Del Monte and Pacific, the back side of the convention center. They just remodeled it. There's a beautiful mural, and that mural is a story of Monterey, of our beloved town. It's absolutely fantastic. It tells the whole story of Monterey. Well, that mural was painted by the late Guillermo Wagner Granizo. And today I have his son on, and we're going to talk about the mural and about Mr. Granizo. So I'm honored to have this gentleman on. So let me introduce him. Please welcome Ron Wagner. Hi, Ron.
Hi there, Johnny.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'd like to thank you, your dad. Hopefully you could hear us. And that we really appreciate that beautiful masterpiece, what he did with that mural, telling the story of Monterey, that generations and generations are going to be able to see that beautiful mural. So I thank your dad for doing it. And so, Ron, where's your dad from, or where did you guys grow up?
Well, both my dad and my brother and I were born in San Francisco.
Okay.
And yeah, he was born there in 1923, as it was his father. But his mother was from Nicaragua. And while he lived in San Francisco for about the first 8 years of his life, he then decided, his family decided that they wanted to go down to Central America and Mexico and live for a while. So they did. They went down to both Mexico, Guatemala, and Nicaragua. And my mother is actually from Guatemala, so there's a lot of Latin background in our heritage. And so he went to school in some of those places, and really started getting an appreciation for particularly Mexican and art in Guatemala and some in Nicaragua as well. And he just kind of had those impressions in his life that carried him through in doing a lot of his artwork.
Now,
so we grew up in the Bay Area.
Now your dad always was he a painter and then transitioned into the ceramic tile, or?
Yes, he actually, and if you go on the website, which is just granizoart.com, you can see some of the early art that he did, and he did a lot of pastels and watercolors and acrylics, and it was mostly painting. He started doing that when he was in the hospital after the war. He was gravely wounded during World War II, and it hit very seriously in Normandy. He was given the last rites 3 times.
Wow.
And yeah, he came back, and for 4 years he was in the hospital. And he had been in art school prior to the military in San Francisco, the San Francisco School of Art, College of Art, and he had a feel for how to do paintings and that. And he also was interested in film. So he in the hospital decided that he was going to start working on that. And he finally got out 4 years later and married my mom and took a job at KRON TV in San Francisco as the actor. And in those days, everything was live TV. So he would paint the scenery that was associated with whatever program there was. And there were some great old time programs. I remember as a kid going on some of them. One was Happy Birthday to You, and one was it was a space show where they had hats made out of aluminum foil, and my dad did all the scenery for the spaceships, and that's how he was doing his art at that time. And then back in the 50s and 60s, he started playing around with different kinds of art and evolved into doing mosaics. The Mexican influence again. He was very into the artists that were down there, and Diego Rivera, for one, who did fantastic murals all over the world, but primarily in Mexico. And I remember as a boy, my dad taking us down there to visit, and he would show me all the murals that were there. And he decided he wanted to become a muralist. So he started doing that with rocks and tile and that kind of thing. And from there, starting back in the early or late 70s, he moved into tile. Ran across a tile factory down in San Jose called Stonelight Tile, which no longer is in existence, but they helped him get started in doing ceramic tile murals.
That's really great. We thank Granizo for his service for our country. So we thank him. Yeah. So, Rob, is it like a terracotta tile? Is that how it is, or?
Yeah, it is a terracotta tile. It's a half-inch thick. It's not like your typical bathroom tile. And Stonelight produced a very unique kind of tile. And my dad would work with different kinds of glazes, and he found one that really worked well for doing his murals. And I remember going down to San Jose, and we'd put the tiles into the kiln, and the kiln had like a conveyor belt. And you'd start it at one end, and it was a block long, and it would take all day for a tile to be fired in this kiln, moving very slowly through it at a very high temperature. And from that, he created his beautiful art and started building murals for various cities. He's got artwork particularly all over the Bay Area: Pleasanton, Benicia, Vacaville, San Francisco, and of course Monterey and LA, where he did his largest mural, which was the Olympic mural in 1984. Interesting thing about that is in 1984, he did the murals for Vacaville. He did the mural for Olympics, and he did the mural for Monterey. Now, mind you, the Olympic mural was 100 feet long by about 25 feet tall. So it's about twice as big as the Monterey mural. And when he did that, it took him 10 days to do that mural. I'm sorry, 10 weeks. He did it in 10 weeks. Yeah. And he basically didn't sleep. And at the same time, he was doing these other murals like Monterey, which Monterey took him a little longer. I think it was 6 months for him to complete that one, even though it was smaller, but he had so much going on.
Yeah.
But Monterey is probably my favorite, one of the most beautiful ones he's done.
I've seen a photo of the Olympics. That's quite a feat of the Olympics.
Yeah, it is.
So how did he get commissioned for the Monterey? They sought him out, and they knew he was a muralist. How did that happen?
I think there were bids taken, and my dad said he wanted to do the mural, and I remember that he didn't really submit a bid. My dad was really bad about paperwork, and he didn't submit a bid to the city. And they asked him, well, how can we get you to do a bid for us? He says, no, I've got tile that I can show you, and presented them with some paintings to look at. And they basically they went ahead with it. At the time, the mayor of Monterey, I think it's Caniglia.
Yeah, I think
He
Pete Miglio.
Yeah, he was the one. He believed in my dad. He loved my dad's work, and he said, "Let's go for it." And an interesting story that's actually in the mural, and it's in, if I remember correctly, it's in the bottom right hand corner. There is a man in a boat, and that is actually Mayor Caniglio. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, and I believe the boat's
There's another one now. Now we got to
yeah,
look at the lady flashing, and we got to
yeah.
find Caniglio. And when I do that, I'm going to email you and let you know, hey, Ron, I found him.
All right.
But
Yeah.
that was in 1983, I believe, that mural was done.
It was commissioned in '83, and it was in '84. And I'm going to look here. I have a picture of the mural in front of me.
Yeah.
The boat itself, it is in the right hand, towards the right hand corner, but
Okay.
the boat itself, I think, is named Caniglio, or trying to think of what that says in Italian, but it's that's the name of the boat.
Yeah. What's amazing is your dad did research, and it took him 6 months to, do all this research and do this mural. And I mean, he really got into the community and the history of, the whatever, the golf, the San Carlos Cathedral, Fisherman's Wharf, Cannery Row. I mean, so he had to do some research about the area, which is really taking it one, far and beyond the Call of Duty. I mean, so that's really amazing that he did that. Yeah. And then, Ron, something happened. They had to remodel the convention center.
Oh my God.
What do we do?
Yeah, that really gave me angst. I received a letter from the city, and from Dennis Copeland, who is an amazing guy. He's now retired, but he had everything to do with that mural going back up and taking it down. But he sent me a letter and said, we're going to inform you that the mural needs to come down because we're rebuilding the conference center, and it'll probably take 2 to 3 years to before we can get it back up. So I patiently waited for those 3 years and had a lot of conversation with them during that time. And there was an amazing architectural firm in San Francisco, the ARG, which is architectural, what is it called? Renovation Group. And they just did a marvelous job taking it down. However, they also had broken about 60 of the tile. About 10% of the tiles were broken. It was never meant to be taken off the wall.
No.
So they broke them, and they have an amazing group of conservators there. One in particular, Johanna Krantz, who is she's a magician. And she put them back together, and she repainted them. None of this was fired in a kiln. It was just done with epoxies and different kinds of glazes. And when you look there, you can't find 63 tile that look like they were broken. They're all in perfect shape.
Perfect.
So that came down. The ARG group stored the mural for the 3 years, and then a company down that way, CL Frost, put the mural back up. And that was a kind of a tense moment too, because we didn't know where the mural was going to go. Dennis had told me that they would hope to put it on the back of the convention center, but they were also looking at a building down by the yacht harbor, and they were looking at other buildings in Monterey to put it back up. But finally, I believe it was the city council decided that it needed to go back in the same place, and I'm very grateful that they did. And it looks beautiful there.
No, it's a good spot right there on the corner. You can't miss it, And I hope that listeners out there that have never had an opportunity to, take a walk, in this beautiful area, Monterey, take a walk, check out, all the adobes around town, and check out that mural because it's something else. And you could just stare at it and just keep staring at it, and take off and come back
I,
a couple weeks later and you
I
find
love,
something. Yeah, that's
yeah, I love to stand there and watch people come by and ask questions about it. And I remember I was invited the day that they started putting the mural back up. I got to put the first tile up, and I got to put the last tile up
oh
a
man,
couple of weeks later. And
what an honor! I mean, what
yeah,
an honor to do that,
oh,
But
it was truly an honor. And what was fun was as we were doing that, people were driving by honking, saying, "Oh, we're glad to have the mural back," and
yeah,
yelling out the window as they drove by. So it's truly a loved mural, that's for sure.
but what pressure that company they had, and the lady that had to repaint the tiles. She's under a lot of pressure because you got this,
Oh,
artist, this famous artist that's not around anymore, and you've got his art, and you're under a lot of, the blood pressure must be going 100 miles an hour, trying to.
it was a very exciting time. Yep,
Well,
very exciting. And
now, Ron, your brother is an artist, right? You got a brother that's
yes,
an
he
artist.
is.
And
Yes,
is he
he's
doing?
a very very good artist. Like my dad painting scenery, my brother was a high school drama teacher for 40 plus years, and he did all the sets for the drama shows up in Fairfield, California. And he is a wonderful artist. He has great creativity, which he got from my dad, and he is now embarking on doing mosaic tile murals. In fact, he just bought a kiln to
Wow.
start firing murals. So we expect to see some great things come out of him in the near future as well.
I'd like to,
So
I got a photo of the mural I'd like to show the viewers. So let me put it on right now. Okay, here's part of the mural. It's got all the stories. Here it is, 45 feet wide, 663 ceramic tiles painted, and I believe it's 170 stories.
150 stories, yeah. Looks like
150. Sorry about that. And
section.
right now, I could see Fisherman's Wharf, Monterey Canning Company on Cannery Row. I see trucks. I see sea otters. I see a tour bus. And it just goes on. There it is, the U.S. Coast Guard building. I didn't even never notice that. But anyway, it's something to see. So I recommend anybody out there to go check it out.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You know, my dad was so prolific doing all these murals, not only in California but around the world, and many in the United States, Chicago, Salt Lake City. I mentioned L.A., Arizona. But he in 1995 he did 2 tiles a day. Each tile is 9 inches by 12 inches, and they're a pair, and they're very humorous
Okay.
tiles. And he said in 1995 I'm going to do 2 tiles a day for the entire year. So that left about 700 and plus tiles to have, along with 100 murals that he did that are 3 feet by 3 feet, which are the story of his life. And you can find all of those. Some of them are available for purchase, but you can find all of them on the Granizo Art website.
Can't remember if I asked you, are these tiles on this mural, what are they, like 8 by 10 or?
Yeah, let's see. Those are, as I recall, I have to look at the picture of it again. Those are 6 by 9s, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, they're all about this size, and they're all just very colorful and beautiful. The entire mural is just a treasure.
Now, are they like, we get a lot of fog and all that, that weird weather here in Monterey. It's all protected by some kind of glaze, right?
Yeah,
Or
that the glaze is virtually weatherproof. The it's very hard, very thick, and water just cleans it off. It doesn't do any harm to it at all, and um, they're very durable tile. He made them for a lifetime.
okay, great. Now, when I met you through a phone call, about a month ago,
Yeah.
you told me that you were featured. Your family was featured on a show called Strange Inheritances. They do
Yes.
people that inherit items that are just different, and
Yes.
and you were featured, and the name of that episode is called 8 Tons of Art, which
Correct.
is you got inherited 16,000 pounds of art, and
Yeah.
2,000 pounds a ton. That equals 8 tons of art. And
Yeah.
can you tell us about that segment and that story, how it happened? And
Sure. I was in Italy on vacation and was introduced by a friend to a person there who is an American living in Italy, and she sees the show over in Europe called Strange Inheritance, and she says when she heard my story, she says, "Have you ever thought about writing to this company and seeing if you could get a show?" And I thought, well, that's probably a far-fetched idea, but sure enough, I decided, what have I got to lose? So
what
I
do you got to
wrote,
lose?
yeah. So I wrote them when I came back, and the next day they call me and they say, we want to do this show, and will you help us write the story? And so we did that, my brother and I, over a period of about, I don't know, it was about 6 months, and Strange Inheritance aired for I think 3.5, 4 years on Fox Business News, and it was a half-hour show. And for 3 years, they had many different people who had inherited different things, from cars to antiques to whatever art, and so they did the show for us, and it reran over those 3 years. They would do the reruns every month, and even today, although the show is no longer a regular series on that broadcast network, it is rerun from time to time, and every once in a while, my emails will fill up with people interested in trying to buy some of those tiles. So, great show. It tells everything about my dad. It shows where he did his artwork in Venetia, and his studio is there and still is. My brother uses it now, and it's really a fun show, and you can find it on YouTube. Just go to 8 Tons of Art, and you'll see a trailer, and there's also a 20-minute without commercial video on there. So if you want to see it, the link is also on the website. So
Yeah, I went ahead and went on YouTube, and it's easy to find. And I'd recommend the viewers, if to check it out. It's really interesting. I remember the lady came knocking at your door, and
yeah,
now is that that's the studio? The door has tiles on it.
yes,
The front door has tiles on it. And I was like, oh,
that was in Venetia, and the people on the door were paintings that my dad did of the founders of that area and the generals that ruled that particular area. At one time, Venetia was the capital of California, and there was a lot of military activity there. So he put those on the door to just honor them. But his entire house up there is wall-to-wall mosaic murals.
Yeah, I'm in that segment is there's tiles everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're giving someone an opportunity to have a piece of history by selling Guillermo Wagner Granizo's tiles. You're giving someone, so Have you put a dent in since that show came out on your website, or have you
Yes,
been selling it before?
I would say out of 1,000 paintings that we've had, we're whittled down to just over 600 at this point. So it has made a dent in it. We've got a long way to go, and we've got a lot of weight to get rid of too.
Oh, now you got what, 7 tons of art now, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's if somebody wants to purchase some art, and what's your website, Ron?
It's just go. You can Google Granizo Art, www.granizoart.com, and that's Granizo. Just under my name there, you can see it. So granizoart.com, and as you look through the different things that are on that site, they're up on top. There is something that says contact form, and if you fill out a contact form and send it in, then I'd be happy to get in touch with you. And if there's anything on the website or not on the website that you'd be interested in seeing or buying, we'd be happy to help you with that. Everybody that buys one calls me back and says, we didn't realize how beautiful these tiles were. I'm not a great photographer, and I took most of the pictures on that site, so I apologize for the unprofessional photos in some cases.
I'm thinking, let's say somebody's building a new house or remodeling their bathroom, or even in the kitchen. You got a nice tiled kitchen that you could put 2 or 3 of those tiles,
Yes.
along with the other tiles. And I mean, that's what I would do. That is really great. And
people
go ahead.
put them in their living room, and they put them in their swimming pools. They put them in their backyards. I have one lady in Texas who has her entire house that was designed by my dad, with every wall and every floor, every place in the house is a tile mural that my dad did. So,
well, that gives you a good feeling to know that your dad's art is everywhere. Texas, yes. Everywhere, Europe.
Yeah.
And let's say somebody all of a sudden they're saying, what was that website? What was the name? Well, they can always get a hold of me, and I'll get a hold of you. So there's no problem, trying to find some beautiful art. But Ron, I really appreciate you coming on today and sharing that story of this beautiful mural and talking about your dad. And he seemed like a hell of a man. And here in Monterey, we'll always cherish that mural and the man that painted that mural. And we've got many generations that are going to enjoy that mural. So
thank you, Johnny.
I really appreciate you coming on, and thank you so much. And Ron, have a great day, and let's keep in touch, because I'm going to have to let you know if I find those two pieces that Mr. Coniglio and a flashing lady.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for this opportunity. I always like to say that I was my dad's first work of art. So
I love it. I love it. Okay, my friend, take care. Thank you. And
have a good day.
Thank you. Okay, Ron Wagner talking about his dad, Guillermo Wagner Granizo, a great artist that did the mural right there on the corner of Pacific and Del Monte. Please check it out. It's wonderful. It tells a story of our beautiful city here in Monterey. So check it out. And I thank everybody for tuning in today and buzzing with Cousin. And take care out there. Be safe. Take care of that hardworking hospitality worker. And we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.